Summer's ending. School hasn't even started yet, but for bright students heading back into chemistry, this is the moment when the year is either protected early or becomes a 10 p.m. homework war by October. You might already feel a physical knot starting to tighten in your stomach when you think about the upcoming school year. I get it. By the way, they call me Doc Knott, different kind of knot. But ending that stomach knot is exactly why I built this. Maybe last year was a constant battle. The missing assignments, the endless text reminders, the avoidance, the stress. Oh, man. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe your child actually did great last year. Maybe they got straight A's. Maybe they're just so naturally smart that they coasted through middle school and biology on pure raw intellect. Maybe they've been running on autopilot. And autopilot works until until the class requires a system. For many bright, creative, ADHD, dyslexic, outside the box students, chemistry is the first class where raw intelligence is no longer enough, especially if they're stepping into honors chemistry or AP chemistry in the fall. Um, in highly competitive academic environments, the pressure is immense. It isn't just about passing anymore. Your teenager is likely tracking towards a high stakes chem career. They want to go into medicine, engineering, coding, or tech, and they need this class to keep their dreams alive. To get into selective top tier colleges, they have to maintain spotless weighted GPA. A single bad semester in chemistry can feel like a direct threat to their entire future. Whether your student is facing elite private school pressure or hyper competitive pace of top public high schools, the curriculum is relentless. If they fall behind on day one, catching up feels almost impossible. Chemistry is unlike any class they've ever taken. It isn't just science class where you can memorize flashcards the night before the test. It's a brand new symbolic language layered directly on top of abstract algebra. In fact, if you strip away the laboratory glass, chemistry is almost nothing but complex word problems. They aren't just balancing equations, they have to read a paragraph of text, translate those words into chemical symbols, then perform multi-step math logic to find the limit of a reaction, and finally come to an answer with correct sig figs and units. Chemistry is where language, algebra, logic, and time pressure all collide. That's why chemistry can become the bottleneck class. Not because your child's not smart, but because chemistry demands a repeatable thinking system. For a smart kid whose brain works a little differently, seeing a massive block of text causes their working memory to overload before they know where to begin. The brain freezes. I'm speaking from experience here. They look at the paper, they know they're smart, but they have absolutely no idea where to start, so they stare. Let's fast forward 60 days into the school year. It's 10:15 on a Tuesday. The kitchen table is covered in homework papers. Your teenager is staring blankly at a single stoichiometry problem, fighting back tears of frustration. You're sitting across from them, completely exhausted, asking yourself, they're so incredibly smart. Why is this so hard for them? The crash is predictable, which means it's preventable. The good news is the pattern is not mysterious. If we can identify the breakdown before the school starts, we could build the system before the first major test. I need you to look at me right now and hear me clearly. It's not your fault. You're a dedicated, loving mom. And it's not your child's fault either. They're not lazy and they don't have a bad attitude. And they're certainly not stupid. I know you would never say such a thing, but maybe they are. Most classrooms are built around one pace, one explanation, and one standard path through the material. That works for some students, but bright, neurodivergent, or highly creative students often need a different operating system to access the same level of success. I know this because I've lived it. I'm Dr. Japheth Rauscher. My students call me Doc Knott. When I was in school, teachers told me I was stupid. They told me I'd never graduate. I was the student who froze on word problems, struggled to get my thoughts out, and was deeply misunderstood. But I earned a PhD in inorganic chemistry from UC Davis, and I've been teaching college chemistry since 2010. I'm a Navy vet, and I have severe ADHD, dyslexia, and a stutter. I got my road name Doc Knott because of my PhD and the knots I tie in my beard, and the fact that I ride with a child advocacy motorcycle organization. I'm not a stuffy academic. I connect with students who usually tune out to traditional tutoring. I'm a chemistry educator, executive function coach, an accountability partner, and a cheerleader for students who don't fit the standard classroom model. Your child doesn't have a broken brain. They actually have a super fast, high-speed computer brain, but the wrong software or operating system. The operating system, it's just a simple way of saying the step-by-step way your brain gets things done. And it includes things like how they start a problem, how they organize the problem, and how they recover when they get stuck. And also, how do they study before a test? If school forces them to use a system that doesn't fit their brain, their software crashes. When a smart kid starts crashing, most parents make the standard move. They hire a traditional hourly tutor. But this is actually a trap. Many hourly tutoring sessions become homework rescue sessions. The worksheets get done, but the student doesn't know how to start the next one on their own. This doesn't build independent thinking. It actually causes severe cognitive atrophy. I know, it looks like a scary medical term, but cognitive atrophy is when the brain momentarily forgets how to process information because someone else or an AI tool did all the heavy lifting. The kid becomes more dependent, not less. And if they turn to generic AI tools like ChatGPT to bypass that friction, the atrophy accelerates. AI can be a useful tool when it teaches thinking, but when students use it to skip the thinking, they may finish the homework and still be unprepared for the test. Let's use a simple analogy. If you drive a high-performance car and the engine suddenly starts making grinding sounds, you don't just pour random oil in and hope for the best, and you certainly don't let the mechanic start tearing apart the engine block without testing it first. You hook it up to a computer, you run a professional diagnostic, and you find out exactly which cylinder is misfiring. Why would you treat your child's cognitive engine any differently? We don't wait for the catastrophic crash in October to find out where their learning gears are stripped. We get ahead of the wave right now, before the school year even begins. We call this the day one chemistry advantage. We rebuild how they approach learning using my proprietary science-backed framework, the focus method. First, we find the gaps. We locate the exact algebraic and logical holes left over from last year before they block the new chemistry concepts. Second, we organize the mind. We build ADHD-friendly visual study structures so they never stare blankly at a word problem again. Third, we connect the dots. We use real-world physical analogies to help them anchor the chemistry concepts to things they already understand. Fourth, we unleash confidence. We train their working memory and build test-taking automaticity so they can perform under pressure. Finally, we step into success. We build long-term academic momentum, turning today's struggle into tomorrow's career in STEM. This method doesn't just improve grades. This is where the identity shift begins. We take them from their current limiting belief of, I just don't get it. I'm not a science person. And we shift their internal script to, I got this. I have a system and I can do it. But don't take my word for it. Let's look at what families who've gone through this system have to say. An AP student, Annalise, was failing. After her 41% on her first semester final exam, she got so scared of tests that she shut down and pretended she didn't care. Once we gave her a system that actually fit her brain, her fear disappeared. She went from a 41% first semester final to earning a perfect 5 on the AP chemistry final exam. She didn't hate chemistry. She just needed the right system. It was never a chemistry problem. It was an emotional safety and process problem. When we aligned the system to her brain, her confidence and ability finally had a system to run on. Sarah T., the mother of a highly intelligent neurodivergent college student named Bing, said, "My child finally has the support now, how her brain works. Homework time is calmer, and my teen actually feels capable again." Bing was stuck at a C, but now is thriving in med school. Sammy, a college student with ADHD who was drowning in chemistry, wrote me, "This system didn't just save my grade, it helped me become immensely more confident in my own learning abilities." Think about what that means for your household. You get to step down permanently as the exhausted late night homework project manager for your child's science grade. You get to stop policing their binder and assignments. You get to finally just be mom again. This is not hourly homework help, and it's not a quick fix tutoring session. We start with a free 20-minute chemistry strategy call. On that free call, we'll see if your student is a fit for our forensic intake. What's the forensic intake? Think of it like a complete checkup for your child's brain. We find out how they think, how they learn, and where they get stuck before school even starts. Once we decide to move forward on setting up the forensic intake call, then step number 1 is the student logic map. Your teenager will complete a specialized, stress-free diagnostic. It isolates their specific math algebra gaps and tracks their working memory in limits. Step 2, the parent environmental audit. You'll complete a brief diagnostic of their physical study space, distraction triggers, and previous homework patterns. Step 3 is the 45-minute one-on-one calibration call. You, your student, and I will sit down on Google Meet. I'll map out their learning profile, explain their cognitive blocks, and hand you their fall day 1 playbook. The investment for this deep dive forensic intake is $247, which we'll set up and schedule directly on our free success call. This intake is for families who want a real plan, not another round of generic homework rescue. But I want to make this as risk-free as possible for you. I built a permanent safety net for this diagnostic fee. If at the end of our calibration call, we mutually agree that your student is fit for one of our programs, your entire $247 diagnostic fee is credited directly towards your tuition. If we move forward into the Chemistry Compass Blueprint, we don't just assign worksheets, we build their custom digital study environment. Immediately after enrolling in the Blueprint, we'll schedule a second 45-minute technical session together. In that second call, or really the third call, I personally construct and calibrate their secure Notebook LM knowledge vault, loaded directly with their school syllabus and textbook. When we deploy their custom trained Gemini, the Socratic Compass. This is a private 24-hour AI tutor. My students often call it their study buddy. That knows exactly how to guide them through word problems without ever giving away the answers. Don't wait until October when their grade is in the free fall, their confidence is shattered, and the homework battles have ruined their evenings. Click the button below this video right now. Secure your students' one-day chemistry advantage diagnostic. Let's fix the engine before the trip starts. Let's ride.